Welcome back. A live look here in Chicago, Illinois, courtesy of EarthCam. A lovely Memorial Day morning in the Windy City, but the picturesque view today is not what we saw over the weekend, Sean.
Yeah, in terms of weather, it's beautiful, but otherwise gunfire erupting across the Windy City with a surge of shootings. Memorial Day weekend violence has left now what has been reported, 9 to 10 people dead, 34 others wounded, according to Chicago PD. The violence happening despite the new Mayor Brandon Johnson's new safety plan to increase police on the streets and include community groups to help curb the violence in the city, plus the dozens of peacekeepers who hit the streets to quell violence in, quote, hot spots. The violence came close to Mayor Brandon Johnson's doorstep as one person was reportedly found dead in an apparent homicide less than 2 blocks from the first-term mayor's West Side home. We'll break this down with Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez joining us live and retired Chicago Police Lieutenant John Garrido. Thank you both for coming on. We do appreciate that. If I could, Alderman, if I could start with you, please, just your reaction to the overall violence. And, you know, we've seen this time and time again over the weekend there in Chicago, but now you have a new mayor in town and has new policies for the city. Talk to us about that. Do you expect these numbers to start dropping? Are you surprised to hear about these numbers?
No, sadly, good morning, Emma and Sean, and God bless our Gold Star American families this Memorial Day. No, I don't expect these numbers to change. In fact, it seems what old is new again. And we've seen the same kind of rhetoric, the same kind of approach from Lori Lightfoot 4 years ago on her first Memorial Day. And we're seeing it with our new mayor, Brandon Johnson, this weekend, where rather than standing up and saying we will have zero tolerance for criminality, where we will support our police and ensuring safety in our neighborhoods and committing them while they're giving their days and weekends off to safer neighborhoods. You know, we're throwing more money at organizations, many of whom have ties to gang members, employ people who haven't left the gang or drug or gun lifestyle, and asking them to keep communities safe. And this is why we're seeing not only the 43 people shot, 9 people killed, but also one of those peacekeepers themselves arrested for joining his fellow gang members to beat someone up in the Little Village community.
Oh my gosh, that's not keeping the peace. Goodness gracious, has this plan not been off to a very strong start? And John, that's where I'd like to bring you into this. If you could talk to me about the role that these so-called peacekeepers might play, how they could interact with Chicago police, and what you anticipate will ultimately happen in Chicago when it comes to crime.
Yeah, that's just it. These peacekeeper ideas, they've tried them before. They generally don't work. This is called scarecrow policing. They cancel officers' days off every year, doing the same things and trying to just have a bigger presence out there. But it's like putting a Band-Aid on a severed artery. You can't just have a weekend plan and expect to have anything change. This needs to be something that's consistent year-round. There needs to be accountability. We need to be making arrests on a regular basis. We need to be out there enforcing the laws, and that's just not the case on a regular basis. But then we come up on a big weekend like this and decide, okay, well, now we're going to get serious and now we're going to fight crime, and then we end up with the same thing. I mean, we've had almost 250 people murdered in Chicago this year and over 1,000 shot already, and we're only 5 months in. The plan isn't working. Scarecrow policing doesn't work.
Let me bring this up here. Anecdotally, we have a dad who lost his 35-year-old son over the weekend to the violence we were talking about. Spoke to a local ABC TV news station. Here's that.
He was there with his best friend. They pulled up, didn't have a chance to do anything. His best friend, thank God, was with him and valiantly tried to save his life, performed CPR, helped him breathe. My son fought for his life, but he was gone.
Just tough to even listen to a grieving father right there. Alderman, I mean, is it too much to ask for a safe place to live?
It is not too much to ask, and to be honest, Sean, it is a requirement of government. It's the social compact that we have that government's main responsibility is to keep its citizens safe. And to hear the heartbreak in that father's story of what happened to his son is what goes on time and time again in the city of Chicago. Over 700 people were murdered in the city of Chicago last year. And there are 699 people just like that father you heard from who we never hear from, who are often forgotten, especially when everyone continues to try and play politics with public safety. We can do better. We know what works. John knows what works as a sworn officer, a member of law enforcement, and he's exactly right. It's the consistent application and enforcement of the law that changes behavior, not little stunts, not little gimmicks, and not gaslighting.
Sure. Yeah. The laws are on the books, right? Enforcement of the law is so key during this time. Alderman Ray Lopez and John Garrido, thank you both for coming on this Memorial Day. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Still to come on